Hello everyone, my name is David Allen Gay, and thank you very much for watching the latest GoFundMe initiative update dated May 23rd, 2016. Today is Victoria Day here in Canada, so for those of you who are able to get the long weekend off, or able to go to the cottage or have a barbecue, I hope the weather cooperated because it is, after all, the unofficial start of our summer, and I hope you guys had a good time. But I'd like to get started on today's topic for this video, and that's about something that I discovered by accident while trying to do a little bit of research for a blog post at davidallengay.wordpress.com, which describes my job search and my unemployment and homeless situation. It was about a topic that was completely unrelated to what I discovered in this report that I came across, but I think it is worth mentioning because it does go into something that I've talked about before in the past, unrelated to what I was researching, and that topic is about the definition of homelessness. So yeah, you're saying you have in fact talked about this. You have talked about what homelessness is, both in your video series and also at your blog. You described homelessness being a state of existence due to a series of circumstances that made you lose where you were living and put you out on the street. And I agree with that. But the reason why I wanted to do a video about the definition of homelessness is not because of what I think about what homelessness is or what anyone thinks about homelessness is about what a certain organization called the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness thinks what homelessness is all about. And I suppose that if you have homelessness as part of your name, you do have the right to maybe try to take a crack at defining what homelessness is. And sure enough, yes, I am reading this on the screen. They have produced a report called the Canadian Definition of Homelessness. Now, the name is kind of interesting because I kind of figured whether it's Canadian, American, New Zealand, British, whatever, homelessness is homelessness. You do not have a place to stay. You don't have a roof over your head. You don't have a bed to sleep in. Therefore, you are definitely homeless because you are out on the street. But this organization penned this report, and it's a 5-page report. It's very detailed. It's easy to understand. Goes the Cadillac way of trying to define what homelessness is. And you want to know something? I think that's wonderful on one side, to really dig deep and do a very in-depth yet very easy to understand definition of what homelessness means, because I've always argued on my video series on YouTube and also on my blog that in order to solve a problem, be it racism, be it poverty, be it homelessness, be it distribution of wealth, you really have to understand what the problem is. You just can't cannot create task force or committees or throw money at a problem and think, okay, that's going to fix the problem. That's really not how you deal with problems like this. You have to really knuckle down, sit down, and really try to understand. And I have to give credit to the Canadian Observatory on Homelessness for trying to do this, because I'm going to read some excerpts of what they think homelessness is. And I won't read the whole report, because like I said before, it's 5 pages long. And a lot of it is I agree with, such as their definition of what homelessness is in its preamble. Homelessness describes the situation of an individual or family without stable, permanent, appropriate housing or the immediate prospect, means, and ability of acquiring it. It is the result of systemic or social barriers, a lack of affordable and appropriate housing, the individual or household's financial, mental, cognitive, behavioral, or physical challenge, and or racism and discrimination. Most people do not choose to be homeless, and the experience is generally negative, unpleasant, stressful, and distressing. Well, yes, indeed, I am in complete agreement of that. Bang on right there. It talks about what homelessness is without going into stigmas about what homeless is, being a homeless person is. And I know you people know what I'm talking about, because I mentioned this before. When you ask a person, what homelessness is, it's about, the response that you might get is, it's lazy people who do not want to work, who have a drug problem, who are crazy, or they don't want to do something where they take personal responsibility for their lives and get themselves back to being productive members of society and also be able to afford a rent by holding down a job. This is why I like this report as opposed to what people believe homelessness is. It is a very simple, very easy to understand definition of homeless. But there is such a thing as overanalyzing and overdefining a problem. And this is where the report starts to go a little bit off the track. There are some things that I agree with, and there are some things I don't agree with. And to help you understand what my concerns are, their definition of homelessness does not just stop there. It should have, but it didn't. Instead, what they tried to do when they tried to define homelessness in more detail, they started using a spectrum. Homelessness, as they write, describes a range of housing and shelter circumstances with people being without any shelter at one end and being insecurely housed at the other. Now, take particular note of that last part I just said. Being insecurely housed at the other. They are treating homelessness not as a clearly definable situation, a single point, an analyzable puzzle to solve. They are attempting to describe homelessness as a spectrum, and they do this spectrum as defining what they refer to as topology that comes in 4 parts. And some of these parts I agree with, and some of them I go, well, kinda. And then there are some that I just go, no, that's not homelessness. But here we go. The first one is unsheltered or absolutely homeless and living on the streets or in places not intended for human habitation. I agree with that because I was that. I was on the streets. I was sleeping on buses and subways. I was staying a lot of times in coffee shops and libraries. That to me is homeless. That is definitely bang on homeless. Okay, you don't even have to explain that to the common people. They see this in movies and in their television programs and they go, oh, look, a homeless person. Emergency sheltered, including those staying in overnight shelters for people who are homeless, as well as shelters for those impacted by family violence. Okay, I was never homeless because of family violence, but yes, I did spend some time at the House of Friendship, which is a shelter for men here in Kitchener, for a total of 10 days. 2 days while I was staying with members of my family, and then additional 8 days after I left the accommodations of my immediate family. So yeah, I do agree with that because I was in a shelter. Provisionally accommodated, referring to those whose accommodations is temporary or lack security of tenure. What they're talking about here is couch surfing. Couch surfing to me is not homelessness. And I will tell you why I don't think couch surfing is homeless. Well, first of all, there's a roof over my head. There is a fridge for me to keep my food in. There is a shower I can take a shower in. A laundry room that I can clean my clothes. There's probably internet where I can continue my job search. By definition, it is a house. It is a place for me to stay. Therefore, it is not really homeless. It's more like one's couch surfing. Another reason why I don't consider this a state of homelessness is because there are many people who are working full-time who travel a lot. Salesmen, members of the military, maybe even people who just do odd jobs from coast to coast, even around the world, who have no need of a house, who stay with friends, who stay with family members, who rent hotels, motels. Are they homeless? I would not say they were really homeless. They are without a home by choice, but I would not consider them to be in a dire straits situation that homelessness really is. Even when I was couch surfing, I never considered myself homeless. I would have liked to have a job and be able to afford my own rent and stay at my own place, but I never considered myself homeless. It was just simply a state of well-being from one place to another. This final one, makes me go, no, no. At risk of homelessness, referring to those people who are not homeless or whose current economic and or housing situation is precarious or does not meet public health and safety standards. I'm sorry for laughing at this one, because how many people do you know? How many discussions have you had that involve something like, honey, if we don't pay our mortgage on time, we're going to lose the house, or, oh, geez, I got to pay my rent, or landlord's going to boot me out the door. You know, many people live it like that, especially in this age of austerity and the jobless recovery, where, you know, we have to make ends meet because corporate Canada is no longer willing to foot the bill through job creation. We have to find other ways to make ends meet, raise money in this capitalistic society. Everybody's singing the same old song. And by this definition, nearly every person who is struggling to balance their budget and making sure that there's food on the table and the rent's paid, by definition of this point on the spectrum, they're homeless. And you know, this is why I made this video and I wanted to talk about this topic today. I think it's absolutely great that someone has actually sat down and really tried to go into the meats and potatoes of what homelessness is. It is a very simple to understand report. You do not need a lot of brains to understand it. It's in perfect English. There are no charts or fanciful points that you have to run to a dictionary to look up and wonder what the hell it is. It's basically very ordinary, common English that most people use. And it also goes past, you know, the stereotypes of homelessness, which I've been trying to do on my own video series and my blog. But when you start to overanalyze and when you start to bring in things that maybe or maybe not might be considered homeless, you start to muddy the waters, you start to cloud the picture, and you start making it harder to understand the problem in order to resolve the problem. Because like I said before, in my initial point, you can't just throw money at it, you got to understand a problem, you know. It's kind of the same tact that the social justice warriors and those people who talk about microaggressions and safe spaces, they talk about bringing in all of these things that could be considered violence toward women, or racism, or hatred toward the transgendered or lesbian, gay community, by using topics like, non-polar genders and what else? Using pronouns that do not use he, she, their, but ze, zim, zif, you know, to reflect them. Otherwise, if you don't use those ze, zim, and zif terms, you're considering an act of aggression toward transgendered people. This is this is the same thing. It's kind of like, oh, I'm going to bring in this, and it might be homeless. I might bring this in, it's homeless, and I'm bringing it in, and you know, you can overanalyze something. I don't damn anyone for taking the time to understand a problem, but don't get silly. Don't start lumping in all of these things, because if you start doing that, you miss the focus of what you're trying to fix. And I think that's very important, and that's why I wanted to share this with you today, because it's about a report that does a lot of good, but could also do a lot of harm if you start going off the rails and overanalyzing the problem. In any case, I'm going to provide a link to this report, both on this video and also at my blog at davidallengay.wordpress.com, because I am going to write about this as well as talk about this. I think something like this really does deserve not only a video, but it also deserves a very detailed writing analysis of it as well. So expect to see that link as part of the video and also part of my blog at davidallengay.com. Now, getting back to what this GoFundMe initiative is about, well, again, what is it all about? Well, what I'm trying to do is to raise awareness and also funds so that I can afford staying in this place that is being covered right now by very generous members of my family. It is not a long-term solution, it is temporary, which I suppose would be under category number 3 of the report. And we're still considering homeless, but we're not going to go there. What I am looking for is not one person to pay $11,000 to cover the rent of this place so I continue my job search and have it serve as a base of operations for my job search so I can get some sleep and have a shower, do my laundry and stuff like that. I am, however, asking 11,000 people out there, social media land, who are watching cat videos and on the blogosphere, Facebook, Pinterest, all this stuff. If you are watching this video right now, 11,000 people, please donate $1. I am asking for 22,000 people out there in social media land, watching cat videos, blogosphere, Facebook, whatever, to donate 50 cents. I am asking 110,000 people strong to donate $0.10. That's all I'm asking for. The ideal situation I would love to be in right now, and that I would shut this whole thing down, is if someone out there in the region of Waterloo here in Ontario, Canada, can offer me work. That would certainly be much better than a donation. I'll accept a donation, but if you've got a job for me, even a part-time job, I want to hear from you. And you know how to reach me. You can reach me through my GoFundMe contact information. You can go to my blog at davidallengay.wordpress.com. You can leave me a private message on YouTube, and you can DM me at on Twitter at David_Allen, ALAN_gay, and just let me know that you have work for me. I'm willing to do any sort of work I have a skill set for. That is it for today. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and feel free to leave comments below about what you think about this report. Do you think this report is great and defines homelessness to a T, or do you think this report goes way too far in trying to define what homelessness is? Let me know what your comments are. I'd like to hear what you have to say. In any case, that's it for me. Thank you for watching this video. Have yourself a good day. Bye for now.